give you something you can take with the rest of your life. Not to say that what you're learning in class is not important, but the power of choice is very important, and how you guard what you do with the actions that you make. July 10, 2004, I was hanging out with some friends. We had a few drinks. I was, hanging out. We were talking, just hanging out, casual stuff. After enough time that I believed had elapsed, I decided to leave because I was going to wake up the next morning and have a barbecue with friends. I was going from Cutler Ridge in Miami to South Beach. So I decided to leave. My friend asked me if I was okay to drive. And I said yes, because I felt okay. I've done it many times before, and I felt I was all right. I mean, it's a decision that I've made before, and nothing has ever happened. I got into my vehicle, rolled down the windows, put the AC on full blast just to make sure that I was refreshed, put my seatbelt on, and I proceeded to leave. I was driving for a good 20, 30 minutes, and now I'm on the Florida Turnpike. I was doing 83 miles per hour. And I was going over, there was 2 hills on the turnpike before the turnpike has an exit for the 836. I went over the first hill, and there's a sign obstructing the view of the second hill. By the time I got to the second hill, it was too late. I didn't have any time to react. I didn't swerve. I didn't hit my brakes. I could be one of these people that argue or debate whether that accident would have taken place if I was sober. That's pointless. You can't change the past. It's happened. When I came to, both of my airbags were blown. Several of my windows were shattered. My vehicle, which was facing north, is now facing east. And the vehicle that I hit from the rear is now about 300 feet away. I'd taken off my seatbelt, and I just made sure no more cars were passing on the turnpike. There was a body in the shoulder. So I ran over to the lady, and there's a man huddled over this lady, and he's sobbing. And I put my armor on him, and I said, "It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right." And it wasn't. She's no longer with us. But she lives right here, every day. What if you made a decision, and as a result of that decision, somebody's no longer living? What if you made a decision, and as a result of that decision, you're no longer here? How many people would be affected? I was distraught. I didn't know what to do. I've never been in a situation where I've dealt with so much stress. In a blink of an eye, my life had been altered because of my choice to get into a vehicle while after I've had a few drinks. Forever altered. God forbid, I would never want that. I would never want to hurt anybody. So it took about 3-4 hours after the police had done what they did, and they let me go from the scene. They asked me if I wanted to get anything out of my vehicle, and they released me. And 2 years and a few months later, I'm in a courtroom. January 2nd, 2007. Actually, 3 years. 2 years and some change. I'm in a courtroom, and after fighting my case for however long, and I always remain conscious of the fact that as I was trying to get the least amount of time possible, there is somebody on the other side that no longer has a family member. So I understood that I would have to face responsibility for my actions. And one thing that you guys should remain conscious of is if you drink and drive and you get into an accident and you cause bodily injury or a fatality, you will go to prison. You will. So after that amount of time with my case, I'm now standing in a courtroom and the judge says to me, Jacob Penaranda, I now sentence you to 15 years. Upon you turning yourself in February 2nd, I will mitigate it to 5 years prison time, 5 years probation, and permanent revocation of license. I knew about the 5 years prison and the 5 years probation, but she caught me off guard with the driving. No more driving. I was like, wait a minute. My attorney didn't tell me this. So that had to have been the longest 30 days of my life, between January 2nd, 2007 to February 2nd, 2007. I had all types of ideas, but in the back of my mind, I knew the right thing to do was to go in, turn myself in, and do what I had to do so I could be standing here before you, sharing my story, so you guys could understand this is not something that you want to deal with. And it's not something that people choose. I didn't choose this. I don't want this for my life, but it is. You can't change the past. And what I'm not really trying to change the past. I'm trying to help all of you adjust your future. So when your parents tell you to do something, or they ask you to do something, it's not because they want to take your fun or they want to steal your joy. It's because they understand. They know. They're older. With age comes wisdom. When we're young, we think we know everything. And prison sucked. Bad. You no longer, that name, it's on the card, but your number is all that matters. You're no longer a human being. You're inmate. It may get up. It may go to sleep. It may pick up that cigarette butt. If the cigarette butt might not even belong to you. It may get naked. Everything that makes you human, that divides you in society from your peers, you no longer have that. I'm going to read something to you that I wrote while I was in solitary confinement. They put me under an investigation for something I didn't even do, and they released me 6 days later. They don't even have to tell you why they do this. You could just spontaneously be told to pack all your stuff. Let's go. You can put you in cuffs and take you to confinement. There has got to be a higher reason or purpose. Solitary confinement is definitely not for the weak-minded or the faint of heart. They just carried a fellow inmate who goes by the name Mafioso out of here. Seems as though the solitude was too much to bear for him. How he went about trying to kill himself is not clear, but he definitely wasn't in good shape when they carried him out. May God be with him either way. Young guy, about 22 years old. It seems as though he was breathing, but it was very strained. If anything, staff here saved his life. The whole concept of this form of confinement is inhumane. I will not rant and rave about why being here sucks, but I will say this. For this to be some supposed remedy or cure for the ills that plague institutional life is absolutely ludicrous. I have my sights set, and I know that tomorrow will bring with it the sunshine. Until then, I am finding ways to fix the water spout on the sink before I rigged it up with a confinement pen cartridge. All it would do when I press the button is dribble. I would like to call the concierge and request a room change, but I'm not sure how far my request would go. So I'm also finding ways to hang the towel somewhere. It'll dry. Staying busy, working on my psychology course that I was taking via Louisiana State University correspondence course studies by means of the study guide alone, because they won't allow me to have a hardcover textbook. Reading 2 books. One is called The Amazing Adventures of the Jewish People, which only got good when we moved in a common era. The other called Congo, which is boring and not worth finishing. For a person whose curiosity leads him on long journeys, I fear that some things will remain unknown. I no longer have a problem with that, but I would really like to resume a normal state of being. I want out of this craziness and into a life that has meaning. I know I will make a difference. I know. When I was younger, I asked God to just bless me with strength, mentally, physically, emotionally, in every aspect of my life. Just be prepared sometimes for what you ask for, because sometimes you'll have to go through a lot of things to gain what you ask for, but at the same time, it makes no sense whatsoever putting yourself in harm's way intentionally or allowing your friends to do the same. So make sure that the people that you choose to associate with care about you. Because I wouldn't. But we just have to be a little more conscious of the fact that if somebody has been drinking, don't allow them to get behind the wheel. You know, my message is not to not have fun, to not party. Because if I was any of you and somebody was standing up here trying to tell me that, I would be like, this guy's not speaking my language. He's definitely not speaking my language. The only thing that I can impart with you that makes sense to each and every one of us is whatever you choose to do, just be responsible. Just be responsible. At the end of the day, that's what makes sense. In closing, stupid acts equal stupid outcomes. So just be responsible. Save your life.
Thank you, Jake. Hey, let me see your hands if you think you learned.